All right, so let's take a quick look at working with the animated flashcards template. Now, this project is really based on an earlier example we did that was much more themed, right? So if I click through here, you get a series of questions. We had some visually styled multiple choice questions. You get the feedback slide. But essentially, it's the same process where we have cards sliding in with a question and then a sort of a hand over each of the cards that creates that layered effect. Now, when you first download the template, you'll see that it is a Quizmaker template file. If you haven't worked with a Quizmaker template, it's really the same process as working with a PowerPoint template, which means as soon as you double-click it to open it, you're actually going to get a new file. It's going to create a new project file based on that quiz. So in this case, here it is, Quiz 2. Here are our choices. So we have 6 question types that are already set up and formatted for you, and they're sandwiched between 2 blank slides, one for instructions and then one for feedback. If you don't want those, just delete them. We're using the instructions right here just to give you a little bit of overview of how to work with the template file. So if I pull that open, here it is in form view, but if I jump over here to slide view, you'll see that this is the actual formatted slide. So you can add some additional instructions here if you want, if you stylize it, use your own slide master. Now the slide master really is where you're going to format the title, the quiz title. So if I move that down, so view, slide master, and you can just change the title in here. And of course, if you want to add any additional graphics, customize any of these, they're all here on this level. So that's where you'd make those changes. Close out of there. And that's pretty much it for the instruction slide. I'll close out of that one. Now the questions are all set up the same. So they're all kind of based on the graded question followed by a feedback slide, blank slide for the feedback. Now if I open up one of these, you can see in form view, just a simple question, choices. If you want to delete them, you can, or add more, you can. But slide view is really where you're going to want to work for most of the customization. So let me slide this up a little bit. So a couple things here. Title obviously fixed on the slide master, question, and your choices. Now, the couple elements that are available to you on this level, we have the note card, and again, this can be swapped out with your own graphics, but this is just a free-form card that has a animation set to it, so it's going to fly in from the right, so it just kind of zooms in, and the thumb right here is a separate graphic. So let me pull this up a little. This thumb is a separate graphic, so we create that layering. So you can move that around, and you can see the card can be positioned there. And this is important that if you wanted to actually duplicate, say you want to have additional cards come in on the same, create the same look that these cards are all building up, Control-click to duplicate it. In Quizmaker, it's going to move it to the top layer. So you need to get it below the thumb. One way you can do it is just to right-click, send it back, and then kind of work it backwards, right? Well, that can be a little tedious, so you might want to use the timeline. And you can just take that card selected and then just drag it below, right? So now it's above the previous rectangle, which is the original one here, and this is my new one, and I can rotate it a little bit as well. But you want to make sure that it's always going to be below the thumb and the choices, as well as the question. And at some point, if I move this over too far, you can see it starts to pop through a little bit. So just something to work with and manage. Okay? And I'll just close out of that. So how do you work with this? Well, a couple ways you can work with it. One of which is to, if you only want to work, say, with the multiple choice, you can select all of these and just delete them, or work with all of them and then just duplicate the ones that you want to have if you want to have multiple questions. So if you wanted to have a couple multiple choice, Control-C on the question group and then Control-V. And then you just update your questions here. You can update everything in form view, but then if you want to make any customizations, you want to just go into slide view to make sure the spacing is all set up. Now, one other way that you can work with it, and this is the benefit of the quiz template file. So if I have a new quiz here without any questions, or I could have some questions here, I can import selected questions from that template. So let me show you what I mean. So come up here to Articulate and just click Import, Import, and you can select the quiz template file. The cool thing here now is I can select any or all of those questions. So if I only wanted the multiple choice piece, right, even though it's all set up, I can just select those two and then click OK, or I obviously could include all. And now I can just bring in those two questions into my existing quiz. So a couple ways to work with the quiz template file. If you have any questions, obviously just post back and we'll be happy to help.